Hi there, everyone. I'm Attorney Kelly Longtin, and welcome to our YouTube page. And today I want to talk to you about what to do after a loved one dies. Now, if you've been named the person responsible for settling a deceased loved one's affairs, commonly called an executor or a personal representative, if your loved one had no estate plan or had a will, or a successor trustee if they did in fact have a trust. You may find yourself overwhelmed by grief and a growing list of responsibilities. As the person in charge of winding up your loved one's affairs, you may find yourself juggling many tasks: planning the funeral, coordinating with relatives arriving from out of town, and meeting with an attorney to start the legal process of paying for final expenses and any outstanding debts, so the money and property can be distributed to the appropriate recipients. First and foremost, be sure to take time to take care of yourself during this emotional time period. To help you manage the responsibilities now on your plate, let's go over a quick checklist of important steps that will make it easier when you meet with your estate planning attorney to discuss handling your loved one's legal affairs. Now, some of these tasks have important deadlines, so you want to make sure that you reach out to your attorney sooner rather than later. First, you want to secure the deceased person's belongings. Make sure their vehicle, home, and important documents and other valuable items are safe. This action not only protects items intended for distribution, but also ensures that critical estate planning documents and information about assets are preserved and accessible as you begin settling the estate. You also want to notify the post office and consider forwarding your loved one's mail to your address. This action will help ensure that you receive the important bills, account statements, and other correspondence necessary to wind up their affairs. Now, if your loved one wrote an ethical will, sometimes called a legacy statement or family letter, a written document meant to share personal values, life lessons, hopes, and messages for future generations, consider sharing that with the appropriate people in a thoughtful way. You may even want to print and distribute copies to close family members or others who would find meaning in those words. You also want to obtain several copies of the official death certificate, both short and long forms. You will need them for a variety of tasks, including working with banks, insurance companies, government agencies, and other institutions that require proof of your loved one's death. Now, having multiple copies on hand will help prevent delays as you begin settling your affairs. You want to notify the Social Security Administration of your loved one's death. Prompt notification helps prevent overpayments and ensures that any eligible survivor benefits can be processed without delay. You want to take care of any Medicare paperwork needed to report your loved one's death. This helps ensure that future charges are stopped and the account is properly closed. You also want to contact your loved one's employer to ask about any work-related benefits, such as final paycheck, unused vacation, or sick time, or employer-provided life insurance. They can guide you on how and when these benefits will be paid. You also want to notify all relevant insurance companies, starting with your loved one's health insurance provider. Be sure to also contact insurers for life, auto, homeowners or renters, and other important policies. Now, while some coverage may no longer be needed and can eventually be canceled, you may need to wait until you're formally appointed the executor or personal representative by the probate court to take official action. That said, you can often begin gathering the necessary paperwork in the meantime to avoid delays later on. You also want to gather all important estate planning documents, including the will, the trust, and any powers of attorney. Ideally, you'll be able to locate the original versions rather than electronic or photocopies, especially the original will, as probating a copy is often much more difficult and may require additional legal steps. You also want to identify your loved one's financial accounts, including bank accounts, investment accounts, retirement accounts, and life insurance policies, as well as any real property, such as the primary residence, family cottage, vacant land, or rental properties. Remember to include any business interests that they may have had. Eventually, you'll need to obtain valuations for each of these items, so locating recent account statements, appraisals, and other documentation now will be especially helpful later. You also want to identify your loved one's significant digital assets. This includes such things as email accounts, social media profiles, photo cloud storage, and online financial accounts. You want to try and locate a list of these accounts along with any login credentials. Access to this information can be essential for closing accounts, recovering important data, or preserving digital memories. You also want to compile information about any debts, bills, or ongoing expenses your loved ones may have had, such as credit cards, loans, or utility payments. It's often easiest to bring the actual statements or credit cards with you to your estate planning attorney's office, but feel free to use whatever method works best for you. You also want to locate your loved one's tax returns from the past few years and check whether this year's return has been filed. If they had a tax preparer, you want to consider contacting them for copies and assistance with any final filings. You also want to prepare a list of your loved one's surviving family members, including contact information when available. Even if certain relatives are not named in the trust or will, you still need to be aware of all close family members. If you know of anyone else named in the will or trust, such as a friend or a charity, you want to include their contact information. You also want to create a list of the deceased professional advisors, including their financial advisor, insurance agent, tax professional, and any other relevant contacts. These individuals may have valuable information and will likely play an important role in making the administration process smoother and more efficient. You also want to notify the appropriate agencies to cancel your loved one's driver's license, passport, voter registration, and any club or organizational memberships. You should also notify the major credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, of their passing. Taking these steps helps prevent identity theft and reduces the risk of receiving unwanted mail in their name. Now, you may be thinking about handling all the paperwork yourself. It's a tempting thought, but why not keep things as simple as possible? However, taking a do-it-yourself approach to estate or trust administration can lead to costly mistakes and serious consequences for you and your loved ones' desired beneficiaries. There's many rules and legal steps involved, and even a small mistake can have big consequences. So you want to reach out to your local estate planning attorney to help you steer clear of common obstacles that may arise when settling a loved one's affairs, so that you can focus on yourself and your family during this difficult time. Your local estate planning attorney will be able to help manage estate and trust related concerns, as well as point you toward other useful resources. I want to thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe our page in order to stay in the know about estate planning and the proper steps to help to make sure that your plan is in place and to help your loved ones after you've passed. Lots of information. Please tune in for our next video so you can learn more about estate planning and the benefits it has for your family. Till next time, I'm Kelly Longtin from Kelly Longtin Law.